The story you just watched is the story of all of us. It's the story of you. It's the story of me. It's a story of different people at different places in life who are searching for something more. Maybe you're the bully. Maybe you're the person who is caught up in hurting other people. Maybe you're angry. Maybe there's a measure of destruction and pain in your life. Maybe you're like Brian. Maybe you're just kind of stuck in your comfort zone. Maybe your life is boring. Whatever character in the film you relate to, here's what I want you to know. God has something bigger and better for you. There's a story beyond your wildest imagination that He wants you to participate in, that He wants you to be a part of. Brian's story, in lots of ways, reminds me of the story of the Apostle Peter. We read in Matthew chapter 4 that Jesus found Peter on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. And He went to Peter and He called to Peter and He said, Peter, I want you to participate in something bigger than yourself. Peter was holding nets in his hand, dirty nets, broken nets. And Jesus spoke to Peter and called him to be a part of a bigger story. He didn't ask him to have someone else's story. Jesus breathed a supernatural significance into those nets that day. He called Peter to participate in a story bigger than himself. That's exactly what Jesus wants to do in each one of our lives. He wants to ask us to participate in a story bigger than we can ever imagine. A story that has significance to it, that has purpose to it. He wants us to participate in a story that has supernatural significance. In that moment, Peter had to choose. Would he step into the story that Christ had for him? Or would he continue to stay on that shore and cast those nets and just be a regular, everyday, average fisherman? The difference was the nets. If Peter held on to the nets and continued to live his life the way that it was, he was choosing not to participate in the story that Christ had for him. So we read that text, you hear and you see that Peter, it says at once, Peter dropped the nets and followed Jesus. For you and for I, that's what it comes down to. We have to choose to let go of the nets. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a hurt, a habit, or a pain. The bigger story that Christ has for you oftentimes is in the nets. Will you choose to drop the nets and participate in the story that Christ has for you? Just like Brian, maybe God's calling you to step out of your comfort zone, to face down someone or something in your life that's seemingly difficult or insurmountable. But I want you to know it's in those moments, just like with Peter, that God can give you a supernatural measure of His strength, of His grace, and use you in ways to redeem people, to speak to people, and just like Brian, to be there for someone who's hurting, even when you didn't think it was going to happen that way, even when you didn't think that's the way it's going to go. God wants to use you not just to participate in your own story, but in the stories of others, to bring about healing, to bring about restoration. Once again, His story for you is so much greater than you could ever imagine for yourself. It all comes down to surrender. For you and for me. Will you choose to let go of the things in life that hold you back? Will you choose to surrender and allow God, the author of life, to pick up the pen and to begin to write a new story for you? Take the brokenness, take the hurt, take the pain, and use me for your kingdom. Use me for your purpose. Breathe a supernatural significance into my life.